Okay, friends, I decided to read Dr. Dan the Bandage Man. I thought that title of that book was so funny that I wanted to read it. All right, Dr. Dan the Bandage Man. Let's see who wrote this book. This book was written by Helen Gaspard. The pictures are by Corinne Mavrin. Dan is a busy fellow. He's always on the go. But one day in a big backyard cowboy fight, he fell and scratched his finger on his make-believe gun. And what do you think the big cowboy did? He cried. Boo-hoo-hoo, Dan cried, and he ran in the house to his mother. Now his mother was always glad to see Dan, but a cowboy crying? How could that be? Why, that's nothing to cry over, Mother said when she saw the bright red spot. We'll wash it clean with soap and water and bandage it up, and it will be better than new, and quick as a wink it was. Back went Dan to the cowboy fight, and all the boys gathered around to see his new bandage too. See his Band-Aid?
And when my toe was bleeding super hard, I put a Band-Aid on mine.
Yeah? Did that stop the bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
Good deal.
And I wear it on for my shoes.
Good deal. Next day, Dan hitched up Spotty his pup to take his sister Carly's doll for a ride. But Spotty saw a cat he wanted to chase, and he forgot all about that doll. Lickety-split, Spotty started off. Uh-oh.
Who? His dog?
Spotty the dog, he's attached to the wagon, and he's chasing a cat. What do you think's going to happen?
He's gonna take the doll.
He's going to take the doll with him, isn't he? Oh no, you were right. The wagon tipped over, the doll tumbled out, and Carly started to cry. My baby hurt herself because the doll had a bump on her head. This is nothing to cry over, said Brother Dan. I know just what to do. What do you think Dan's going to do?
I don't know.
What do you think he's going to do to that baby doll?
Put a Band-Aid on.
You think he's going to give her a Band-Aid? So he led Spotty and Carly into the house, and he carried the hurt little doll himself with a rather bad bump on her head. We'll wash it clean, said Dan, and he did. We'll bandage it up, and he did that too. Dan opened the wrapper. He picked the bandage out and held the two stiff pieces, and zip, that Band-Aid was on the doll's head. What a good doctor he is. There, smiled Dan, she's better than new. Now, said Carly, I want one too. Are you hurt? Asked Dan. I don't know, Carly said, looking for a scratch. And sure enough, she found one. It was a very tiny scratch, rather old, but it was a scratch just the same. Dan washed it clean and bandaged it up. Thank you, said Carly. It's better than new. Woof, said Spotty, and he held up his paw. Oh my. Dan laughed. I guess you must want a bandage too. So he put one on Spotty's paw. He even gave one to the puppy. Next day, Daddy was home from work. He went out to mow the lawn, and what do you think? He cut his finger on a slippery, sharp lawnmower blade. Let me fix you up, Dad, said Dan. I know what to do. We'll wash your finger
Dads are
clean.
tough.
Dads are tough. We'll wash your finger clean and bandage it up, and it will be better than new.
And daddies don't get bandaged.
You don't think they would ever cut their finger and need a Band-Aid?
Dad's had a bandage before.
Sometimes dads need Band-Aids too.
Look.
Dad looked surprised,
Look.
but he followed Dan, and soon Dad wore a bandage too. You're a handy fellow to have around, said Dad, and he shook Dan's hand.
Look.
I have a new name for you. We'll call you Dr. Dan the Bandage Man, and they do to this day, so we will too. What do you see? What's on his knee?
What? Is it a Band-Aid?
What's on there? Is that a Band-Aid? I think it is a Band-Aid.
Dan.
He's the Dan the Bandage Man. The end. Oh my goodness. Everyone's got Band-Aids. Thanks, Dr. Dan.
His mom doesn't.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you wrote a letter to a thank you card to a doctor or a nurse, make sure you take a picture of it and send it to me so I can share it with them. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.